Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is on this soft daytime smoky eye. As you can see, there's not much color or stark wing liner going on here. So it's a very doable and very wearable eye makeup look for daytime with any kind of outfit. So moving on to the tutorial. I'm first priming my eyelids with a lighter base. This is Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC. The color is way lighter than my skin tone, but that is what helps in cancelling out the pigmentation on my eyelids. So my eyelids are naturally very pigmented, they're very dark as it is. So if I use any eyeshadow directly on my eyelids, first thing, they get creased badly because I have oily lids. Secondly, the actual color of the eyeshadow doesn't pop as much as I'd like to. So I go in with this lighter base first and set it with a translucent powder and then go in with my other eyeshadows. It really helps to bring the eyeshadow color really forward. So once I've set my base, I'm going with my transition color. I'm using Texture by MAC. This is a very skin tone kind of peachy brown eyeshadow, and as you can see, it's almost my skin color, so it works great as a transition state for me. Transition shade state, what am I talking about? So yes, next I'm going on with this Inglot eyeshadow. This is called 102R, I suppose. So I'm picking up the two darker colors in the trio and applying it right on top of the transition color, but focusing more on the outer lid. And yes, we break into dance every now and then. Moving on, so I'm going in with a deeper brown color. This is Foley by MAC. It's a reddened brown sort of color, and it's a matte eyeshadow. I'm using it to create more dimension in my eye makeup. So when you apply a darker color on the outer end, it gives more dimension to your eyelids. As you can see, I'm not taking the color into way inside towards my crease or towards my inner corner. I'm just keeping it in the outer corner. Repeating the same for the other eye. Of course, you have to repeat all the steps for both the eyes. So yeah, moving on, I'm using this gray eyeshadow, which is actually not an eyeshadow, it's a brow powder from Inglot, and I'm using a stiffer dome shaped brush, and I'm focusing this on the outer corner on the top of Foley. Now the point of using so many eyeshadows is that it gives the final result is much more dimensional. You can obviously skip the lighter eyeshadows and move directly onto the darker eyeshadow, but I would suggest going with all these steps. It will give you much more dimension. So now I'm taking a black eyeshadow. This is just Blackout from Urban Decay. I'm applying it on top of Foley, but this time much more concentrated on the only outer tip of my eyelid. I'm applying it in a sort of C shape and blending it inwards. So what this does is it'll bring the attention towards my outer shape of the eye, and then I'll go and blend with the blending brush that I use in the first step and with some matte texture on top of it. You need to make sure that you blend really well. The key here is building up color slowly rather than going with a lot of color in one go. So as you can see, I applied the color and then blended, and I applied the color again. Now I'm moving on. We're going to tightline our upper eyelids. I'm using this kajal from Faces, I think. I'm not fond of this kajal, but it's usable. So well, I applied the kajal on my upper lash line and on the outermost part of my upper lash line as well. So I'm smudging it with a brush. You can use a Q-tip as well, which I am using here, but that was to correct one of the mistakes that I did. I'm human. Yeah, I'm human. So, you can go ahead and apply it all over your lids. I'm not applying the color directly onto the inner lids. I'm just, you can say, sort of dragging the color that I applied on the outer part towards the inner part of the lid. So now, moving on, I'm applying some lashes, and they are done. Sorry, I didn't include the part where I apply lashes. It'll take ages for this video to get over. Moving on. So, moving on to our face, I'm priming my face with aftershave balm by Nivea, and then by using Loreal base Magique to take care of the pores I have around my nose. You don't have to use two primers in one go, one is fine, but I have to do this because I've got pore problem. Yeah. So next is this foundation from Bourjois. It's called the Healthy Mix Foundation. I'm using in shade 57. It's a tad darker than my skin, but I'm okay with that because I prefer using a darker foundation than a lighter foundation on my skin, because I just prefer to look tanner than looking paler. It's just my choice, but you do you. So I'm blending it with a blend. What is this? Beauty blender? Yeah, this is a beauty blender, and it's a dampened beauty blender. Anytime you're using a beauty blender to blend out your foundation, make sure it's damp and damp enough to be bouncing back on your skin. If it is dry and stiff, it will not work as good as it's supposed to. So if you want it to be working at its best, just use it damp. So I'm gonna use it to blend my entire foundation. And then moving on to the concealer, this is True Match concealer by L'Oreal. It's the liquid one. They have a stick one as well, so I prefer using liquid concealer under my eyes. This is in shade light medium, I suppose. I'm applying it directly under my eyes, and uh, pretty much everywhere I would want to highlight my face, and then going in with the pointy end of the same beauty blender and blending it out. As you can see, the color is not too light than my skin tone, but it does bring forward the under eye area, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to be stark highlighted, and it's just subtle highlight, which works great for me. This concealer is quite creamy, quite blendable, so I really like it, I think. Yeah, I do. So we're gonna blend it out and blend it out, and yeah, keep doing that, Sakshi. We're waiting. Hello, hello. Yeah, are we done? Are we done yet? Okay. Yeah, I'm clearly blending at it. Yes, we should be done by now. Okay. Another second. Yes, we're done. Okay, moving on. So that took forever. I'm going to set my under eye area and the areas where I put the concealer. I'm using this Makeup Revolution London palette, the contour palette, and using the top two matte highlighting shades under my eye. I really like this palette. I didn't expect it to be this good because it's not really expensive. It's a very affordable palette. Plus I got it at some discount, so it was really affordable. And the powders are very finely milled, and they do a pretty decent job at highlighting the concealer. So well, after setting the concealer, I'm going to move on with, I guess, my lower lash line. Once you are done setting your under eye, I always recommend going with your lower eyelash line makeup after you have done your concealing and setting of the concealer, because that just gives a more smoked out look rather than using a concealer after doing a lower lash line, because that just gives a more how do you say, sharp line under your lower lash line, which doesn't look as good. So that's just me, so you do you whatever you like, girl. So yeah, I'm applying this kajal, the same kajal again. I'm smudging it off. I'm using a pencil brush. I was using a smudger brush before this, and this pencil brush, both are from Zoeva, and I didn't take any additional foundation on top of it. I think the kajal did the work. So yeah, I was feeling a little blank on the inner part of the lid, so I went ahead and applied a very light wash of All That Glitters from MAC, and I'm using the same eyeshadow to highlight my brow bone, and it's quite a subtle highlight eyeshadow. It kind of matches my skin tone, so it doesn't show up very stark white on me. Now I'm gonna highlight my inner corner. This is a Zoeva brush, a detail brush, I guess they call it. I'm not sure. I'll mention the number in the description box below. So I'm applying Mary Loumanizer by the Balm on my inner corners, and now I'm going to move on to set my entire face. I'm using MAC Studio Fix in NC42. Now this powder is a full blown foundation on its own, but I use it very lightly to set my entire face. I prefer to set my foundation always before moving on to contour and bronzing and blush and stuff, so that they just blend more easily rather than just sticking and becoming patchy all over the foundation. So I'm going to use the same contour kit that I use under my eyes to contour my cheeks. Yeah, so I'm using this Zoeva 109 face paint brush. It's kind of my favorite these days, and it's perfectly meant for your contouring. I mean, of course it's meant for your contouring, but it's so easy to contour with. It does 98% of the job for you. 2% job is like taking the brush and dipping it in the product. That's all that you have to do. Everything else is done by the brush. So I'm really enjoying using this. So I'm using it in the regular places, under my cheekbones, under my jawline, a little bit on my forehead. You don't have to contour your forehead if you have a smaller forehead, but I like to contour a bit. I'm using a smaller brush. This is Sigma E25, I suppose. I'm using it to contour my nose. I don't go into like full blown contouring for my nose. I just like to use product very lightly just to give a little structure to my nose. My nose is a little crooked on the top, but yeah, contouring can do anything, right? So we love contouring. I love contouring. Yes, you go girl. So I'm using now my Loumanizer by the Balm that I used on my inner corners to highlight my cheekbones. This is a fan brush from Cryolan, I suppose, and it's really good to use for highlighting. I really like the precise application. I don't know why it's showing up like a sharp line on my cheeks, but trust me, we got it all blended. So uh, yeah, we're blending it. Yes, we are. Great. So moving on, I'm using this blush from Studio West. This is a makeup line by the brand Westside, the one that sells apparels, I guess. So I think they came in with this makeup line last year itself, and the makeup is so far really, really good. This blush, especially, it's in shade Plum Shine. I'm obsessed with this. Obsessed with it. Yes. I'm taking just a bigger stippling brush just to blend out everything in one. It just needs to melt in your skin as one part, not as three stripes on your face. So using this L'Oreal Volume Million Lashes Mascara on my lower lash line and on my upper lash line. Finally, our face and eyes are done. Moving on to our lips. I wanted to do something nude, but I wanted to be a little pink. So I'm going with this matte balm by Revlon. It's called Sultry, but I felt it was too pink for me, so I went in with this Colorbar liquid lipstick. I think they call it Kiss Proof Stain or something. This is their nude shade, and I'm not sure if it made a lot of difference. It pretty much looked like sultry balm as well. So yeah, don't know why I did that. You don't have to. Now, final step, I'm setting my entire face to take away that powderiness with the Color Bar Spray Mist, and then you're done. The makeup is completed. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Do come back on this channel. I promise to give you more tutorials. If you want any specific look, don't forget to give me a comment below. And yeah, please do subscribe and come back again. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.